Presidential Address on the State of Emergency Declaration. Respected citizens of Korea, I stand before you today to clarify my position regarding the declaration of martial law. The opposition party is branding the declaration of martial law as an act of treason, engaging in reckless accusations. But is that truly the case? Who is responsible for the paralysis of state affairs and the violation of constitutional order in Korea today? Over the past 2.5 years, the opposition has refused to acknowledge the legitimacy of the president, elected by the people, and has continuously agitated for my resignation or impeachment. They have never accepted the results of the presidential election. Since the election, there have been no fewer than 178 rallies advocating for my impeachment and resignation. Starting from the very beginning of my term, to paralyze governance, the opposition has pursued the impeachment of dozens of public officials. Since the beginning of my administration, these impeached officials, regardless of innocence, have had their duties suspended for extended periods, from impeachment proposals to final verdicts. Many have even resigned, voluntarily under pressure before impeachment proceedings began. This abuse of impeachment power has paralyzed the state administration, ministers, the chair of the Communications Commission, and even auditors. And prosecutors investigating the opposition's misconduct have faced impeachment. Judges have also been threatened. This is not accountability but shielded impeachment, aimed at protecting themselves while undermining public discipline and the rule of law. Moreover, the opposition has submitted no fewer than 27 unconstitutional special investigation bills to create a storm of political propaganda. They have even pushed self-serving legislation to shield their crimes. The opposition-controlled National Assembly has become a destructive force, eroding the very foundation of liberal democracy and constitutional order. If this is not a crisis of governance and a national emergency, then what is it? Threats to national security and safety. This extends beyond governance. The opposition threatens national security and social safety. For instance, in June, 3 Chinese nationals were caught flying drones to film a U.S. aircraft carrier docked in Busan. Their devices revealed photos of military facilities taken over at least 2 years. Last month, a Chinese man in his 40s was caught using a drone to film the National Intelligence Service (NIS) immediately after entering Korea. Under current laws, foreign espionage activities cannot be prosecuted as espionage. Attempts to revise the criminal code to address espionage have been consistently blocked by the opposition. Not only did the previous administration strip the NIS of its counterintelligence powers, but efforts to abolish the national security law have also been made. This essentially means they are telling us not to catch spies, even in the face of North Korea's illegal nuclear armament and missile threats. GPS disruptions, and provocations like balloon-based propaganda. The opposition has sided with North Korea and criticized the government for trying to respond. They advocate for lifting UN sanctions on North Korea due to its illegal nuclear activities. Whose interests does this party serve? Undermining law enforcement and civil safety. The opposition has reduced next year's special activity budgets for prosecutors and police to zero. These funds are critical for investigating financial fraud, crimes against vulnerable populations, drug offenses, and counterintelligence operations. Even budgets for countering drug and deepfake crimes have been slashed. They are not just obstructing investigations into themselves. They are sabotaging law enforcement efforts on public safety issues, potentially turning Korea into a hub for spies, drugs, and organized crime. Is this not the behavior of anti-state forces? While cutting essential public safety budgets, the opposition has increased budgets for parliamentary privileges. Economic crisis. The opposition's actions have also crippled the economy. They have slashed budgets supporting the nuclear energy ecosystem, and cut 90% of the funds for exporting nuclear reactors to the Czech Republic. Budgets for next-generation nuclear reactor development and future growth. Drivers like basic science, quantum technology, semiconductors, and biotechnology have been drastically reduced. Support for youth employment, asset building programs for vulnerable children, and childcare allowances has also been cut. Disaster contingency funds and pandemic-related vaccine R&D budgets have been reduced significantly. The opposition's actions have not only paralyzed governance, but also jeopardized the future of Korea. Revelation of serious threats. Many of you are aware of these issues. However, there are more severe matters I have refrained from revealing until now. Last year, in the second half, North Korea launched cyber attacks targeting the Election Commission and other government institutions. The NIS discovered these attacks and attempted to assess data security and system reliability. While most institutions allowed inspections, the Election Commission refused, citing its constitutional status. After a large-scale hiring scandal within the Election Commission, they reluctantly allowed a partial inspection. But many systems remained unexamined. Even the limited inspection revealed alarming vulnerabilities. Hackers could manipulate data at will. Firewalls were practically non-existent. Passwords were as simplistic as 12,345. The system was managed by a small, unqualified firm. As president, I was deeply shocked by the NIS report. How can citizens trust election results when the core systems managing democracy are in such disarray? Despite the Election Commission witnessing the inspection, they repeatedly denied manipulating data themselves. Without their cooperation, uncovering the truth is impossible. Actions to safeguard democracy. Given these threats, I instructed the Minister of Defense to inspect the Election Commission system. When the opposition announced plans to impeach key officials investigating their corruption, including the chief prosecutor and the head of the Board of Audit and Inspection, I decided that passive observation was no longer an option. I had to act. The martial law declaration was not intended to undermine democracy, but to alert the public to the anti-state activities of the opposition and restore national functionality. The emergency measures included minimal troop deployment, immediate withdrawal upon parliamentary resolution. These measures aimed to symbolize the severity of the crisis and maintain order, not paralyze governance. Conclusion. I acted solely to preserve democracy and the nation's future. I will continue to fight against any attempts to derail Korea's constitutional order. I urge all citizens to unite in safeguarding our freedom and democracy. I deeply apologize for any alarm or unease caused by these emergency measures, and ask for your understanding of my sincere intentions. Thank you.